Welcome back to Self-Help. Today we are going to talk about emotions.
Okay, you still sounded like a news reporter. I
Dang
couldn't help
it.
but laughing. I'm like,
Okay.
thanks, Jan, back to you.
So since our last video, we've actually gotten some good feedback about what to do, what not to do. I think my biggest issue is I want the videos to be short and entertaining, and I also want them to be meaningful and have some good information in them. So finding that balance has been tricky, and I'm sure it's something I'm going to have to work on throughout this whole process. Emotions.
Yeah.
So today we're going to expel some myths. Expel? I think that's wrong. I think it's dispel myths. This is what expelling a myth would look like. Mr. and Mrs. Myth. Beginning of the year, we talked about 3 strikes and you're out rule. Your son this week hit that 3rd strike, decided to expel him.
Well,
Expelling a myth. The father's like, this can't be true. He's a myth. All right. One of the major myths is this idea that I need to be happy all of the time, always just elated, and if I'm not, then there's something wrong with me. I feel like for people who buy into that myth, they just need to spend an hour or two with somebody in a manic episode, and they'll see real quick why that's not actually something you want.
well, it's true, though, that generally when I think of the ideal state of being, it's always this happy person. That's this idea of, this like, oh, look how happy they always are. But real people aren't like that.
It's normal to have a fluctuation of emotions day in, day out, and the issues come up when the emotions are either out of proportion for the situation or they do not fluctuate based on change in situation. A lot of people think that they can choose how they feel and that they can control, what emotions they feel when. It's just not true. So here's an example. I want you and you viewing at home to, for the next 10 seconds, and I'll time you, for the next 10 seconds, I want you to make yourself feel the saddest you've ever felt in your entire life. So think about the saddest you've ever felt in your entire life and reproduce that right here on the spot right now because, assuming you're in control of your emotions, this should be totally doable. So I'm going to start the time now, 10 seconds. How'd you do?
Oh, I'm this close to forcing a tear, but I actually don't feel sad at all.
That would have been awesome if just a single tear just
I was
dropped.
really trying for it. I used to be able to do that as a kid, but what I used to do, because I wanted to fake cry, and so I would think of like somebody killing baby bunny rabbits. I would, and it would make me cry. I'm not joking.
And that's what you were trying to do just now?
But I wasn't thinking of bunny rabbits.
I don't even want to know what it was. Would you say though that you got close to feeling the saddest you've ever felt?
No, not at all.
Okay, let's try a different one then. This time I want you and you guys at home to, for the next 10 seconds, make yourself feel the happiest you've ever felt in your entire life. Think about the happiest you've ever felt, and for the next 10 seconds you're going to make yourself reproduce those very happy feelings for the next 10 seconds. Ready, set, and go. How'd it go?
I thought of something funny, but I don't know if I'm the happiest I've ever been. The happiest I've ever been is when my wife gave birth to our kids, so I was picturing my wife giving birth. And then I thought, well, that's a weird thing to do, so now I'm laughing. And now I'm the happiest I've ever been. Now I'm getting the tears. Oh, okay.
Exactly. The point's still there though, right?
Yeah.
You can't actually force yourself to feel a certain way just on demand. I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to feel excited. I'm going to feel afraid, whatever it might be. I do this with clients, especially when I can sense that there's this idea in their head that they really can't control their feelings. It's just not true, and that kind of attitude toward emotions is really harmful, actually. Really, if you get the right perspective and the right attitude toward emotions, what you can do about them, how they work, all that stuff, then it helps relieve some of the tension you might have between you and your emotions and elevate that relationship. In the next video, we're going to talk about emotions, really understanding what they are, what we can do about them, and where the common pitfalls are.
And sometimes I pull out my little shovel and bury it.
That's an issue which we'll actually talk about. So I'm glad you brought that up. No more shovels.